There we go, sheep bell dinging, and we'll see how these spawns look for IamMagic versus Don Artie.
So here we go. IamMagic in the blue playing as the Abbasid, and on the other side we have Don Artie in the red also playing as the Abbasid. An Abbasid mirror on Dry Arabia, and maybe we can see some. Oh yeah, there we go. Immediately different approaches to the Abbasid mirror game meta here that we see. We see one of these players going onto the berries, going for like a 2-2-2 kind of English style approach here. So very likely we're going to be seeing a Dark Age wheelbarrow play here from Don Artie. And IamMagic, he's gonna play this more like the normal way that a Abbasid like to play with a fast H up in the feudal age. So he immediately tends to go for these sheep under his town center instead of the berries.
Yep, and both going with the single scout opening for the time being, and just not too focused on all of the sheep on the map. With this 2-2-2 build, you're not too heavy onto the food early on, and you're starting on the berries, focusing on that early wheelbarrow. So you don't need to get the sheep around. You're just going to get a little bit of vision for the time being, and going ahead and all going to be a focus on economy for probably the first 5-6 minutes is going to be about getting that first initial TC out.
Yeah, the Abbasid being a very economic oriented civilization, they don't have any like instant military production landmarks like, for example, the French or the English, where they are able to pump out military as soon as they hit the feudal age. Instead, they're more economic focused, and we see Don Artie immediately grabbing wheelbarrow as he's able to. So he's going to try and just elevate his economy through technologies and maybe just a more macro-oriented gameplay here.
Yeah, exactly. And you mentioned, maybe he is a little bit more comfortable on the Abbasid mirror. Well, this could be one of his styles, one of his ideas. He knows that no pressure's coming in early on, so he can be a little bit more greedy. He can have that macro-oriented gameplay that you're talking about because it makes it much easier.
So let's look at some of the map-wise decisions that we might see here out of these players. So just judging, I mean, Abbasid, they usually like to go for their second TCs. I can see a really good second TC spot here for IamMagic on the right-hand side, having two packs of deer right next to each other. For Don Artie, the deer are a little bit more spread out. He has deer in front of his base and a little bit to the back of his base. But yeah, there's definitely a couple of really good spots for town centers here. I mean, there are berries next to the deer, so that could also be a really good spot for Don Artie. Maybe in the back of the base, there's even more berries there. IamMagic actually having like with the starting berries next to his TC, has like 2 additional berries in the back of his base. So he has food all around his base. I think that's a really good spawn for IamMagic here.
Yeah, one of the things I always think about with that first initial TC is a lot of times people focus so much on that earlier location, which normally you do want it on the food, but sometimes they'll fail to forget about the walking time, and they'll take their villagers from one side to the other, and by the time they get that second TC down, their opponent's already been, having their second T finish and working and pumping out villagers.
Yeah, having extra villagers here definitely being a huge scaling factor in the early games. And now we see Don Artie going for that stone mine. So I'm not sure, has IamMagic? Okay, I think IamMagic
Just
on the map
pulled
right
off a
now. He's
gold.
also moving. Yeah, he's pulling off the gold. He's going over to stone now as well. Already has the gold that he needs for fresh foodstuffs. Don Artie still needs to mine a little bit more gold in order to afford fresh foodstuff as soon as he goes to the feudal age.
Yeah, and it looks like IamMagic being off the gold, he's building a mill, but the gold in the bank's definitely going to be for fresh foodstuffs when he ages up. So he's just transitioning over to the berries for the time being and going to delay up that wheelbarrow for getting his extra TCs out earlier on.
Yeah, I mean, not having wheelbarrow right now, it is kind of, it's a really good tech to have, wheelbarrow in general. But I mean, for IamMagic, it makes sense not to get wheelbarrow right away when you go over to the sheep, since you don't really have that much travel time with your villagers. Don Artie, he chose to go for the berries, and with the berries, as more, like the more berries you deplete, the more walking time there will be. So getting wheelbarrow in that situation does make sense.
Yeah, exactly. And wheelbarrow also will help in all aspects of your economy as well, with, the wood, the mining, kind of everything out there, with just, a little bit extra move speed and that drop off as well.
Look at this. IamMagic has built a lot of houses, so he's already in the first golden age. That means he's getting 15% more resources gathered from all sides. Don Artie isn't really going to the first golden age first. It seems like he's going to go for a TC before his first Golden Age, and this is absolutely huge. Getting the Golden Age early on, that's a lot of economic bonus that you get on all resources, 15% faster gathering speed. That's really, really good, and it goes to show here that Don Artie really knows how to work around with his Abbasid.
Yeah, it's just one of those, like, everything has an opportunity cost. Don Artie's getting Wheelbarrow, while IamMagic's getting Golden Age. You know, which one's going to be more beneficial? To each his own. You know, only time will end up telling with what they do with their moves. But Don Artie moving out with a significant amount of villagers, already dropping that secondary TC, building up fast, and IamMagic dropping that second TC as well, exactly where we expected it on those double deer packs.
Yeah, it's a really good location there for TC. It's not in between those deer packs. He could potentially lure the other deer, though, under his TC. That could be an option here for him. And we see he's still in stone, so IamMagic looks to be going for that third TC. At the same time, though, Don Artie, he's not on stone right now, so maybe he just sticks it out with the second TC here.
Yeah, he definitely, with the scout clearly circling the stone, he knows that IamMagic is still on top of that and planning on going with a third TC. So it looks like Don's response is going to be drop a stables, get some pressure out, maybe force the third TC in a location that he wouldn't have it, and like in a non-preferential spot, or potentially even do enough damage to delay the third TC altogether and force IamMagic onto some production buildings.
Personally, I'm not a big fan of this move. Oh no.
Don?
He doesn't see.
Oh.
He doesn't see. Oh my God. That could have been three free sheep there. Gets away with his life though, so looking good there for Don. But I'm personally not a big fan of that early horseman here right now, because look at that. IamMagic is already placing his third TC. So the horseman just won't be in time in order to deny anything. And Don Artie knows this. He scouted it with his scouts, so he knows, okay, my horsemen are going to be too late. They're probably not going to get a lot of value here. He's sending them over anyway, so maybe he can deny some economic expansion, or maybe even just kill his opponent's scout. Just killing your opponent's scout denies a lot of map vision, and it goes a long way. Just being able to deny information is a huge aspect in the game.
Yeah, and that's actually what I was about to say about that play earlier. It wouldn't even have been just the 3 sheep that it would have been handed over. More importantly, it would have been that vision denial that you were just talking about. We talked about the single scout opening. If IamMagic loses his only scout, he's forced to go ahead and build another one, because you need information. That is the most important thing in this game, because without information, you don't know what to do. You don't know whether you should be aggressive or what your opponent's doing as far as military goes.
Single villager now on his way over to that third TC from IamMagic. Yeah, there we go. That's going to be an outpost next to the relic and the stone. Oh my God, if it's just one tile motto left, I don't think he could see it, but I think that's going to be spotted.
Oh,
yeah, it's going to be
just
spotted.
barely spotted. But what will the response end up being, as we know that there is a horseman there, and that is not in the range of the town center as far as being able to snipe down that villager. Could be a villager pull.
Coming in as well. Yeah, in theory, with that many villagers, you're able to take the fights against the horseman, and you should be able to burn it down. There we go. Villagers are going to be pulled. Horseman not reacting. Outpost probably going to go down here.
Outpost definitely going to be denied. And the horseman has come out for IamMagic, which is just going to focus down on that villager now. Make his life very tough for building that outpost.
Yeah, now the horsemen are also going to be shot at by the town center. Enemy horsemen just luring them around. And I think, yep, one horseman does go down here. So now it's going to be 2 on 2. Third horseman coming in for Don Artie. But with these numbers, that outpost is never going to go up.
Yeah, and it was just that really, with outposts, I feel like it's that first denial just is enough, because by that time, your opponent's reacting, they've seen it, and it's going to be so much more of an investment for Don Artie to get this outpost up, as we see the outpost has already gone up on the other side.
Yeah, it really does take a long time nowadays to build outposts with just a single villager. It really goes to show that that nerf with the build time, it really did go a long way. And now horsemen are going to take really not the best fight here under the fire from an outpost and a town center. It looks like the outpost is also in range of that villager, so that outpost very unlikely to go up. And I think the villager might potentially go down here as he's trapped between the horsemen. And yeah, he does go down. Outpost will have to be cancelled here.
Yep, that full he basically surrounded his own villager with his own horsemen, and not a preferential fight for Don Artie to take under an outpost as well as a town center firing down.
And right now we see the third TC difference slowly making itself known, as we see IamMagic is now ahead by around 5 villagers at the moment. Yeah, I mean, it's just going to scale further and further from here, but at the same time, Don Artie going up to the castle age at a really respectable timing here. IamMagic is floating a lot of wood right now, and it seems that he wants to invest into military production buildings. But I think Don Artie has a different game plan here. He wants to go into castle age.
Yeah, and his focus right here is the map control. He has the vision, he has the map control, he can go into castle, and what's the response going to be from IamMagic? He's going to have to defend himself. It takes so long to go up to castle as the Abbasid. You can't rush down that landmark, and it's just going to be, you know, armored units flooding his base that he's not going to have as much of a response to.
Yeah, IamMagic does have the barracks prepped, so he's going to be able to make some spearmen against potential knights coming in. But, I mean, knights are fast, and with the economy being so spread out for IamMagic, with the town centers being really far apart from each other, knights can get a lot of good picks here. Now we have a fight between the horsemen from Don Artie and IamMagic, but it looks like Don Artie is currently not taking the best trades here, as IamMagic is microing his weak horsemen back again and again. Now the spearmen also there, Don Artie having to retreat.
Yeah, once the spearmen come in, it is time to run on away for Don Artie. But all of this was doing, he was just kind of trading off the military. He knows the less military, the better for his castle age units that he's about to start pumping out once the landmark finishes up. And look at IamMagic extending out that golden age for as long as possible to go ahead and try to get up to that second tier.
Yeah, he's gonna build that conga line of houses there in order to get that second tier. It's really important. The golden age is just a huge boost when it comes to your economy. Also going for double blacksmith, and let's not forget that the Abbasid is probably one of the civilizations, that is fine with its opponent being in an age further than its opponent, because they got the camel archers, and the camel archers have really high base damage, so they're fine with taking crits against armored units. But we do see knights coming in here for Don Artie, so he's gonna try and get some value out of those.
Yeah, exactly. And where is the value going to come? You notice he is just continually circled around the base of IamMagic, taking more of that map control, making sure that IamMagic is forced onto other resources and can't just easily break out of his base. But some good return trades coming in.
On the parry.
Yeah,
this is really good.
No kills, but he's not focusing on kills with the spearmen. I don't think you expect that with raiding with 4 spearmen. It's just the idle time that he's causing. 11 villagers running across the map, not gathering up the berries right now.
Yeah, it's always the same. In a lot of games, it's not the amount of dead villagers that really gets you in. It's the amount of idle time that your opponent might cause, and we can see it here. IamMagic just circling around the base, but Don Artie still has a lot of sheep under his town center, so he's gonna be fine food-wise. But now we see IamMagic also going up to the next age, and right now it feels like he has all the map control in the world, with the military advantage as well, even though his opponent is in the castle age.
Yeah, it's just he had so much food behind his base, like you were talking about early on. He has so many other resources, and he's spread across a lot of the map. Even though Don Artie might have been attempting to take the map control, he just hasn't been too efficient at doing this. But this looks to be a huge trade that should go in the favor of Don Artie, with lancers, with spears, crossbows, and camel archers. Just wipes the front forward military out of IamMagic.
Yeah, knights against feudal age spearmen, that's still not a really good trade for the spears at the end of the day. And I mean, right now though, IamMagic still in a really good position. Look at his food income right now. He has double the food income right now compared to Don Artie. He's in the second golden age, and it just feels really solid for him right now. Almost 20 villagers. Yeah, right now 20 villagers ahead to Don Artie.
Yeah, good little mass starting to build up for Don Artie, but IamMagic is about to match up his age and has much more of a macro resources behind this, with the villager count number being 23 in his favor.
See a couple more raids here coming in from IamMagic. At the same time, Don Artie placing a couple of sneaky outposts with a single villager in the back of IamMagic's base. Right now, the military looking really good for Don Artie. This could evolve into like a kind of snowballish approach, and we see IamMagic reacting. He's building a couple of outposts here in his base. He's going to try and defend with that.
Yeah, no walls going up for either player, and this just means the raids should be coming nonstop as these the Abbasid are known for utilizing their high mobility units for those raids. Lancers, spears, everything's coming in right now under the main base of IamMagic right when Castle Age comes out. This is the most important time for him, as this is when he can try to match the units on the other side.
Yeah, but this round right there, it was really good for IamMagic, and a lot of the knights there went down for Don Artie. And it actually looks like IamMagic, he went up to a 4th town center. And it's just the economy right now. It's so good for IamMagic and not really as good for Don Artie. It feels like if he can't really do a big push here, then it might be game over just based on the economy. And also no relics have been grabbed right now with Don Artie, so it doesn't look like he made full use of his better Castle Age timing.
Yeah, this is just showing kind of how the new macro is, but Don Artie, he has enough for a keep, and he knows that IamMagic does not have the defenses right now. We know the Abbasid only have 2 landmarks. If he drops his keep in a preferential spot, right front and center in front of the town center, he can start to siege down the main 2 landmarks, and IamMagic, it doesn't matter about if you have the villager count, it takes so long to start sieging down these keeps.
Yeah, Don Artie knows that he needs to win this game soon. He's on a timer.
Oh my god!
Oh!
3 Lancers have just been making a heyday. He had the villager count lead by, it felt like 30 at one point, but that has been thinned out to just 14. The keep finishes up.
Huge villager advantage, but 3 knights make all the difference here. And IamMagic, he really, really needs that wood right now. He needs to get trebuchets out in order to work against that keep. And he's getting a keep out of his own. And there's a lot of idle time right now going on as well, as we see 28 villagers idle for IamMagic, and now he retasked them. He had a lot of idle villagers in his town centers, though.
Yeah, the problem for IamMagic, though, is we already saw Don Artie immediately drop the Siege Workshop behind. IamMagic's being denied off the wood line. You need wood to end up building Siege, and Don Artie, he's already going to start building Siege right now. As you notice the resources in the bank, he should start queuing up a trebuchet.
Yeah, you should. And there we go. First trebuchet now being queued. Right now, though, military advantage. It's relatively even when it comes to numbers of military. But when we see these blacksmiths here going down, it might potentially mean the end for the Golden Age too. But I think he does have, with the 4th town center, does have enough to sustain that second Golden Age. He didn't really have that many buildings on the right-hand side. And yeah, with 3 buildings, he does still have that second Golden Age.
Yeah, and one of the 4th town centers is under fire. Any of the vills coming out from that either have to go to the northwest, south, and there's just outposts all around it. So that town center is essentially rendered useless, as well as it looks like the initial town center being rendered useless.
Now Trebuchet firing upon those additional town centers. I think that's villagers inside that town center, so if that goes down, that's gonna be even more villagers lost here for IamMagic. And right now, economy, it looks good, it looks even, and that's the spot that Don Artie wants to be. He wants to be even in economy while still being able to pressure his opponent.
Exactly, and it's one of those that he might say, yeah, you have the town center advantage, you have the villager advantage, but I have the map control, and that is time and time again what has proven to be a deciding factor in mirror matchups especially.
3 knights, once again, getting picks here on the villagers. This time IamMagic is reacting though, and he's pulling back his villagers.
The part that Don Artie, I think, should try to focus in on is that wood line right there to the west of that 4th town center that he had built, because that was the next wood line that he is all on top of, and if he denies siege, his keep can stay up for longer, and he can win this matchup.
IamMagic right now does have the military lead though, 19 crossbowmen compared to 7, and the spears are also looking really good for Don Artie, for IamMagic, but now spears, Don Artie literally just was on 0 spears, I think. I mean, at least it showed in the overlay, but now all of a sudden he's up to 11 spears, so maybe might just be the lot of barracks that he has there. Oh, villagers getting caught though.
Yeah, right as Don Artie finishes up another stone vein, it looks like there is a nice little spearman crossbow raid, but you know what it means when he runs out of stone. He is ready to place that next keep, and where is that next keep going to be dropped?
I'm guessing on the left side on that wood line. He just needs to starve his opponent off wood right now, and then it's gonna be just a push, wait, actually? No,
he's gonna all out go for the heal it. Yep, he's using all of that stone to repair it, and geez, that is a huge investment of stone. It looks like there are, oh my gosh. He's going all out for this. Is he just going for the end right now? I think he's just gonna go for the end right now. Main town center's down. He has 3 trebuchets. He's just gonna go for the inn. All he has to do is focus the House of Wisdom.
It's one building that stands between Don Artie and victory here, but there's the keep right next to that House of Wisdom, and villagers, they're not known for having a lot of pierce armor. He does have the 2 pierce armor upgrade though for Don Artie, but I mean, 4 trebuchets, this might be it. This might be the chance, and he might go for it. Lots of villagers being pulled.
Running through next to the keeps, being pulled to go to the Springles now. Springles being
boiling
pulled.
oil.
The keep goes down.
All villagers not being pulled for the siege.
No, what is going on right now? Villagers trying to do surround. It's a vill on vill war. One of the trebuchets being burned. Trebuchets going down.
Villagers are going for the House of Wisdom. Oh, it has too much HP though.
Way too much HP, and there's going to be villagers there to be able to heal it up from the side of IamMagic. This looked like an attempted timing to end the game, but Don Artie, he just pulled a little bit too early. He showed his cards. He's still going for it though. IamMagic starting to heal, and once the heals come through, that's going to be too much for Don Artie. That is going to be it. I think writing is on the wall.
Man, what a first game. Don Artie calls it here just before the last couple of villagers go down, but that was an all-in from Don Artie, and it was really, really close. That forward keep, it just took IamMagic's game plan and flipped it on its head. Man, oh man, we can see with the villager graph, there were a lot of lost villagers. For a time, it looked like Don Artie was almost even in the economy, but I think he misjudged the situation. Maybe he didn't think he had done enough damage to his opponent, so he still kept going for that all-in. And we can see at one point the military, it just kept growing for IamMagic, but at that time Don Artie had already committed to go for that all-in on those landmarks. Didn't work out for him in the end, but it was a really, really amazing attempt though.
Yeah, I think if he had just been able to delay the siege just a little bit, if he had found 1 or 2 picks on the trebuchets on the opposite side, he might have been able to keep that keep his keep up for just a little bit longer and hold that spot on the opposite side and be able to keep his trebuchet line a lot healthier. Have anything up their sleeves like
but we could also see that there was just so much stone invested in. There we go. In the blue, we have Don Artie playing as the Holy Roman Empire, and in the red, we have IamMagic playing as the Delhi. Normal approach here so far from the opening for Don Artie. He does have those 3 villagers building the house and then immediately sending them over to that gold mine.
Yep.
Has his 4 villagers on the food. Looking normal so far.
Yeah, making sure that that prelate is being maximized, getting all of those villagers inspired. Over on IamMagic's side, doing the typical, dropping the mosque right off the bat, making sure to get that efficient production upgrade started, and going ahead and getting that house, getting wheelbarrow started as well with all of those free technologies. They just take a little bit of time.
Yeah, usually you're probably already in the feudal age by the time wheelbarrow does come in. I've seen a couple of players also going for the approach of having just a lot of scholars in their mosques really early on with the delis, so they're able to get those technologies much faster because it really does scale a lot with how many scholars you have in those buildings. When you have enough scholars in your buildings, your technologies might actually even research faster than for other civilizations, but that's not usually an approach that we see with the Delhi.
No, not too much. Not unless you might be going for one of those fast village fortress builds that I've seen a time or two. But I don't think that we would see any shenanigans like that here in this matchup with so much on the line. I think IamMagic, he's going to utilize this favorable map for his Delhi civilization. Maybe, I know on this map we've seen a little bit of 2TC Delhi, but I don't know if we'll end up seeing that out of IamMagic if that is in his wheelhouse.
It could be a potential reaction to if we saw Don Artie, for example, go for a second TC into military kind of approach in the feudal age. But so far, it just looks like a normal age-up timing here for Don Artie. He doesn't even have any villagers on wood right now, so might even be just a naked fast castle age.
Yeah, normally when I do see him go for that build, he doesn't go for wood at all. He'll drop the chapel on wood and stone, but it doesn't look like there is a good positioning point for wood and stone. So it might just be that more typical opening. Pulling off of the gold mine, going over to a straggler tree onto the wood, and dropping the chapel in a normal spot. So I don't think any too big of shenanigans going on, but that is a lot of villagers. I don't know. This is making me think this is making me think it's going to be 2TC.
Yeah, this is this is very likely gonna be a 2TC build with those amount of villagers, but is that gonna be like a 320-ish kind of timing here for the feudal age? That's gonna be
yes.
surprising for IamMagic.
Yes, that is exactly what it's going to be. I have seen Don Artie do this a lot. He literally pulls just about all of his vills, except for I think it's 3 or 4 onto the food. They fast build the chapel. They all go to the wood line, and then they also go to the stone. And the second TC ends up coming down around the 5 minutes and some change mark.
It's really, really fast feudal age timing. That's gonna be catching IamMagic off guard. He's gonna be like, wait, it's 3:20 on the dot. Is exactly and 3 minutes 20 seconds feudal age coming out here for Don Artie. Absolutely insane. And with those many villagers on wood, we're bound to be seeing a second TC here in the feudal age.
Yeah, he is moving back onto the gold, so has something up his sleeve as far as either getting some more technology, wheelbarrow, something like that, or potentially getting some military upgrades. But I would expect he is going for more of that economical approach and a fast castle behind it as well.
Does make sense. IamMagic still on his way to the feudal age, probably thinking to himself right now, oh man, my opponent has already been in the feudal age for like a minute now. What is going on? No villagers so far though, going over to the stone for Don Artie. He does have the wood for a mining cap. Instead, it looks like he's going to be dropping, what is it? It's going to be a stable or barracks? I think a barracks makes sense here, since you are able to utilize those feudal age men-at-arms. And there we go, indeed. We do see the barracks already has its waypoint set to the middle of the map, so men-at-arms probably coming in here very, very soon.
Yeah, going to opt to take a little bit of map control himself. Just how you said, you usually don't see Delhi start to kind of turn on their military unit productions until a little later on. But IamMagic already dropping that stables now and not able to get the blacksmiths out, not able to get any of that technology started early like you might want against, you know, an opponent that might be a little bit delayed as well.
And Barrack coming in. I think he's gonna not just go for the sacred side in the middle, he's gonna go for the one that's right next to the base of IamMagic here.
Yeah, and I don't think Burgrave is going to be an option with double barracks. I don't think Burgrave would make much sense, so I think it's going to end up being Regnance. It might have just been a little bit of a more feudal aged gameplay by Don Artie rather than the castle age that we were thinking.
Yeah, going from 2 to wait. Okay. For a second, I thought that was gonna be a third barrack. That would have been questionable at that point. But now also going for the blacksmith, and I mean the archery, they don't suffer from that prolonged time that it takes the Delhi in order to research that technology. So the blacksmith upgrades are gonna be coming in really, really fast in comparison here for Don Artie. A couple of wolves are chasing that spearman as he is on his way to that sacred site from IamMagic. I think Don Artie also scouted that IamMagic immediately opened up with the horsemen. Also, I think he might have potentially gone for a couple of men-at-arms in the beginning. But yeah, Spearman here, perfect unit for those units. We also see IamMagic making an archer range, but Don Artie immediately also having men-at-arms in queue.
Yeah, I think you were exactly right. Where Don Artie had a scout circle around the backside and has his spearmen. They're able to get on top of the farther berry bushes and aren't in the town center range. So really, really good job by Don Artie, able to deny some of these berries. And does a villager go down? Not quite a villager pick, but a little bit of idle time there coming in from those food villagers. The archers are moving forward right as the men-at-arms will start running up in just a bit.
Go. Men-at-arms are already halfway across the field. What's the buildings that are coming out of IamMagic now? I think those are blacksmiths, since he does need those tech ups at some point here in time. Horsemen circling around, but the economy right now, it's really centralized for Don Artie, as he's even placing a couple of farms now in the range of his Archon Chapel.
Yeah, exactly, and trying to get on top of these stables, taking a little damage from the town center, it looks like, and an archer on the backside. Trying to deny the blacksmith from getting finished on up, just tanking down some fire and running on away. Just a little bit of idle time, a little bit of delay, but not too much damage that IamMagic has actually taken.
Yeah, Don Artie, he didn't have the Iron Undermesh upgrade, but now it just came in for those men-at-arms, so now these are even tankier when it comes to arrow fire, being able to dive that TC just a little bit longer when it comes to picking up villagers. And now, I think Sanctity, yeah, it just just came in for IamMagic, and he's starting to contest that sacred site. Men-at-Arms immediately moving towards it.
Yeah, and 2 horsemen right ready on the expansion of food for Don Artie, but Don Artie is focused in on trying to deny the sacred site. There's only 5 men-at-arms, but there's 2 scholars and a lot of archers on the opposite side that's going to be able to heal up that front line. So I'm a little bit worried about this man-at-arms mass, and there we go. Getting on top of the scholars is the main focus, as they won't be able to double heal each other.
Yeah, archers not focusing the scout in there in that army mix, instead focusing the men-at-arms. But I mean, archers are focusing not focusing the scout there. It is scholar goes down.
Pickup.
Okay. A little bit sloppy there. Usually with enough scholars, you're actually able to out-heal those men-at-arms. Scholars heal for like 7 health a second. So if you just get enough scholars out there, you can survive the army for an indefinite amount of time. And scholars, if you look at the of the worth when it comes to the
5
cost,
scholars.
120 to 150 resources, with the landmark even less. So you can definitely go for the approach of just adding a lot of... Oh no, formation. Oh no, formation. The scholars are being shoved back due to the formation, and now he's not on the sacred side, not being able to capture it right now.
Yeah, delaying himself up a little bit, and he said, all right, you thought 2 scholars did a little bit of healing. How about 5? So fully committed on getting that sacred site, fully committed on getting that extra gold income turned on. Don Artie already having some nice farms around his chapel for that extra bonus in, and finding other places to do some raiding, as he should know IamMagic should be on other food sources other than just the sheep under his town center, and forces a bunch of villagers to run away from the berries that he's about to find.
A good reaction though for IamMagic pulling those villagers away really early on. Woodline is getting idle, but at the same time IamMagic knows that he probably shouldn't be taking those fights straight up. So he's now going over to the deer from Don Artie, and he's in a perfect position to do so. With the archers, he's going to be able to get a lot of picks here. If he doesn't show his hand too early, and Don Artie reacts immediately, pulling all of his villagers away, that's a perfect reaction. He knows that the army from IamMagic wasn't where it was supposed to be, in his opinion. That is close to his army going to take a fight. So he was like, okay, I gotta pull my villagers here. He's probably gonna be attacking there. Now we see the Ragnitz Cathedral coming in here for Don Artie.
Yeah, and pulling back at that perfect time, right as he has enough for Ragnitz, just needs to make sure to keep his eco, keep some of these resources alive to be able to actually utilize Castle Age. Denying the middle sacred site, as the army for IamMagic is a little bit too far forward, has some men-at-arms kind of splitting up, trying to find some picks on those scholars.
Scholars were a little bit out of position here right now. He did split his scholars up into 2 groups just to make it a little bit more annoying for Don Artie to catch these off guard. Now there's only 2 scholars with the main army, and I think if Don Artie just pulls his main army here, he could take a really, really good fight, as he's just now reaching the Castle Age at just below 11 minutes. This is still a pretty good timing if you consider all of the investment that he put into his... into making military early on. Now we immediately see the upgrade coming in for the men-at-arms, going over to the normal men-at-arms instead of the early ones, and that's gonna increase the stats by a lot. He might actually be able to take fights on the town center here as soon as that upgrade comes in.
Yeah, once that upgrade comes through, I'm not really sure what IamMagic's army is going to be able to do to match that men-at-arm mass that is on the opposite side. Just is going to have his eco idled for quite some time. Once there it is, upgrade has come through, and these things have just turned into absolute tanks now, as the damage even from town center, even from all those archers, are basically going to be nullified.
Yeah, now the men-at-arms are coming in here, and it looks really, really bad right now for IamMagic. There's not a ton of map control going on right now, but it is okay. Men-at-arms taking fights here under the TC, and now we can see it. Scholars are literally just out-healing them.
Needs to make sure that a couple of those men-at-arms are actually focusing in on the scholars, otherwise it's just kind of throwing away units for no reason. Still has a good mass.
Right now, military, 39 compared to 11.
Still seeming to pick some more up. No relics have been secured yet. First one picked up, pulling back. Outpost being built, but more villagers are going to end up going down. Villager number finally starting to favor IamMagic with this pressure that is coming in. He might take the villager lead. Nope, it is even.
We also have some knights coming out from Don Artie right now, and he really needs those units with high attack damage currently, just in order to be able to out-damage the Scholar healing. Outpost is being built with a lot of villagers, but the archers are just keep firing, and now we're up to 9 scholars here in the front, and the healing is just too much for these men-at-arms and knights to handle.
Yeah, and we just said that the villager count number was dead even. Well, IamMagic just went up by 9, almost 10, has a huge mass of scholars, has a huge mass of military, and Don Artie, his military just all of a sudden disappeared. One relic is into the bank, so that will help a little bit in the long term. Outpost is trying to snipe down, but the scholars just out-heal all the damage on the opposite side.
Yeah, now we see the scholars out-healing the horsemen, out-healing the tower, firing upon the horsemen, and the horsemen are just able to take it out. Emergency repair could come in here, though, for Don Artie. Doesn't seem like he's using it. No emergency repair coming in.
That would have delayed so much more time, and every second right now is precious for Don Artie. If he was able to stall up that front line and allow his eco to keep working on those farms, he actually could keep producing and hope to have a chance back in this. But at this point in time, I think that outpost was his last chance, his last opportunity. Next sacred site starting to be secured by IamMagic, so wants to get some extra gold trickle, and he is about to be able to age up to Castle Age behind this in just a little bit of time.
It does appear like we're dropping a couple of frames at the moment, though, in the stream. Oh, looks like we might be back to normal. We're currently still working on it, so do apologize a little bit of lagging going on here in the stream as we are working on it. But right now it seems like Don Artie is in a little bit of a pickle here. He did manage to grab one of the relics, but army advantage right now firmly in the hands of IamMagic, and he's about to... Yeah, now he's aging up himself as well. Okay, more army now coming in for IamMagic, actually diving under the town center. The scholars, they're just absolutely able to out-heal everything that Don Artie is able to throw at him. And now we see men-at-arms fighting against mass horsemen, archers there firing upon them. But it's just the healing. The scholars, they just out-heal everything. The town center, the men-at-arms, the horsemen. It's just not gonna work. And there we go. He's just sitting under the TC, denying all the resource income from the farms, going up to the Castle Age here behind it all. And now the archers going over to the villagers on the wood line. Don Artie being 50% villagers behind.
And just keeps falling down. His whole entire eco is idled. There's just nothing he's going to be able to do behind this, with IamMagic now matching his age. And there's just every single sacred site going down. There's win conditions on the field, but Don Artie just doesn't have anything he's able to do.
Yeah, the military is just sitting under the production right now. Any unit that was to come out now, even I mean, Don Artie, he doesn't have the resource to produce any units right now, and it's looking really, really rough. He managed to secure his second relic here, but now IamMagic has complete map control, and he's going to be able to take the last 3 remaining relics here on the map. And there we go. Don Artie calls it. He knows that he is not able to come back from this. Game number 2 going over to IamMagic.
Yeah, I mean, we tried to have some guesses at the beginning of that, and I wouldn't have expected the full out men-at-arms mass to be the play during that feudal age. It did have a little bit of timing that he was able to put some pressure down, but ultimately, IamMagic just able to secure up his defense, secure up those sacred sites, and just have too much of a mass for Castle Age timing to be enough for him.
Yeah, and we see that dive there. It just, the military count, it got shredded slowly but surely for Don Artie. And I think it just came down to when to take those fights with the HRE against the Delhi. There was a really, really good timing there where IamMagic split up his scholars and there weren't that many scholars with his main army. I think that was the moment where Don Artie should have taken a decisive fight. Didn't happen in the end, and then IamMagic was just able to condense the scholar amount and then do a big push into the economy from Don Artie and just secure the economy advantage, even with all of those men-at-arms out on the field, and it just worked really, really well. No sheep bells so far. Okay, scene though. Where are the sheep? There they are.
And right off the bat, we see 6 sheep in one camera screen. That is just so nice to see. Of abundance of sheep, and there are going to be a lot of them. You might think like that's a lot, but not really for this map.
Yeah, this map is known for having a lot of sheep, meaning that you're able to sustain your villager production or just military production in general under your town center for a prolonged period of time here in these games. Interestingly enough, Don Artie is going to be the player here that doesn't opt to go for a second scout. IamMagic has already invested the resources into a second scout. It's a little bit beneficial for the French to go into a second scout because their scouts do produce a little bit faster. So instead of taking 25 seconds, I think it's only 22 seconds for the French. But obviously, it's still going to be time and resource invested into the scouts. So Don Artie, with only going one scout here and still being able to grab a lot of sheep from the looks of it, is going to be looking not bad here for Don Artie.
Yeah, and one of the things, yes, it will help him up with his timings, but one of the things that I think this is a downfall is usually you'll see knights get split into, two different control groups, but with scouts with them to get vision and to make sure, where they can and can't raid, make sure they don't overstep, and that extra scout helps so much to be able to split into a couple different groups into raiding parties.
Yeah, just being able to have one scout with your main army and another scout, maybe looking for additional potential raiding spots, also being able to keep tabs on your opponent's army, knowing where that army is located in. I mean, it's really important. We talked about it again and again, and it all just comes back down to that one thing where information is pretty much everything in this game. Just having information gives you a big lead over your opponent. But we also see that second scout pretty much paying itself off with the amount of sheep that it's finding.
Exactly. The only thing that Don Artie could utilize is maybe this quicker timing opportunity cost that says, my knight's going to be coming down earlier. I might get a couple villager picks early. If they do opt for that second TC, maybe it makes it just that much more delayed. There's that much more aggression to put IamMagic on the back foot. But right now, IamMagic is going to be sitting nice and happy with the amount of sheep he got under his town center for quite some time.
Don Artie now being the first one to click up to the next age. IamMagic still needs a little bit longer, probably going to click up within the next 20 seconds. At the same time, though, this gives Don Artie a little bit of a window. If he's able to keep his opponent off of gold early on, that means that the night production for IamMagic might cease to continue at some point. None of these players have opted into a mill or a lumber camp. Actually, IamMagic now going for that lumber camp. With the French, you do get a pretty hefty discount on your economic upgrade, so we do see it time and time again where the players do opt to go for like an early wheelbarrow. However, in a matchup like this, I think you probably don't want to spend that extra gold on the wheelbarrow, since you just need to have that gold in cases where you might need to produce an additional knight here.
Yeah. And both players trying to harass the gold, just trying to make that gold a little less efficient as they are going up and going to start producing the knights. I know some of you might be thinking, well, it's going to take a bit of time for that knight to come out, and by the time Don Artie's knight gets the other side, IamMagic's probably will be jumping out of the School of Cavalry as well. But the big thing is what we talked about earlier. Just because there's another knight there doesn't mean that you're all of a sudden going to be able to just deny the knight from pressuring. The knight can just charge in on a villager, get an auto off, and then just run right away. Maybe takes a knight charge from the other side, but not too much damage.
Yeah, knight charge on a knight is not really as detrimental as a knight charge on a villager. Now we see villagers every now and then trying to surround the scout for Don Artie, but Don Artie is able to pull his scout away. Not quite enough villagers in order to get a full surround to body block that scout and hindering him from leaving that chokehold.
Yeah, knight immediately queued up for Don Artie. IamMagic does opt for wheelbarrow. Notice his gold in the bank. He almost with the next drop off will have enough for his knight, but is going for that typical French build where you get wheelbarrow as you're aging up, and you're still going to be able to start producing those knights right when you do hit that age up. A little bit delayed here.
Just a little bit of a delay. Still hasn't queued it. Is lacking the food right now in order to queue that knight. And I mean, right now, first knight coming out for Don Artie, and Don Artie, he's going for that second TC. Already on stone. I think IamMagic with his scout in the base, though, does know about this and might think about going for a second TC of his own. Doesn't look like it yet, though. He might instead just continue pumping out knights, as we see that he's still heavily on gold. And yeah, it's very likely just going to be a sustained knight play here from IamMagic to begin with.
Yeah, even if you don't see the stone, you see that there's one villager on the gold, and you're like, what's French doing if they're not grabbing gold? And in feudal age, they're going to be going for that second TC. And I mean, you wouldn't expect a full archer transition like you would with other civilizations. Don Artie trying to deny that vision from the other side, almost got one of the scouts from IamMagic, but just narrowly was able to escape from his side.
Yeah, Scout surviving with a sliver of HP left. Now we got 2 knights here on the field for Don Artie, only 1 knight at the moment for IamMagic. Second knight for him coming out though soon, but as long as there are 2 knights for Don Artie, IamMagic will have to avoid taking fights for now. Now we can see IamMagic also going for stone. Don Artie, though, he almost has the stone that is required for him to go build that second TC, and there we go. Now he's able to have built that second TC. Scout once again almost going down. But now we see equal knight numbers on both sides, and Don Artie is retreating for now as he still doesn't have his lance charge recovered.
Yeah, he has that second TC outline. He's starting to build it up, starting to drop it in a very, very preferential positioning as he has deer, shoreline fish, and a gold mine on it. So he has everything he needs to continue to produce knights for the long term. Is able to pick up one of those scouts instead of a knight charge, but I think he's sitting pretty happy at this terms. He's equalized the scout number. That wasn't the big deal. As
That's a little bit odd right now. It seems we're having a little bit of a freeze here right now. Let's see if we can get that back up. Just a moment.
You overcome, and we're getting back into this game now, so we didn't really miss anything as we saw game pause. So we're going back and forth. Don Artie, he's still building up that second TC right now, and those knights are starting to roam around, potentially to try to deny IamMagic's second TC, just how I mentioned earlier on.
Yeah, now it also comes into play where Don Artie was able to kill one of the scouts from IamMagic as his knights literally just ran past that second TC from Don Artie. If he had a scout there, he would have been able to spot that and potentially get a couple of villager kills there. Now his knights are just roaming a little bit around like headless chicken, and now he's able to deny the stone income here for IamMagic. This is going to be absolutely huge. It means that the second TC is just going to be more and more delayed as IamMagic is only missing 40 stone in order to drop it.
Yeah, and this is exactly what I was worried for. He's forced onto a barracks. Luckily enough, he still has enough wood as he has been overgathering over there. So forced onto the barracks, and Don Artie, I think, can just full focus on that knight rampage as I was talking about. He even is starting to produce a couple more spears himself, but we'll see if this pressure gets any picks onto these shoreline fish, as there is not enough room inside that TC for all the villagers there.
Yeah, villagers going down, only 10 spots inside that TC. 2 villagers have already been slain. Spearman out there, another villager going down. 1 spearman, not enough in order to deter all the knights. The town center fire also was enough. Is able to take a knight down though.
Is able to get a knight pick, but even bigger on the opposite side is the knight raid for Don Artie. He hasn't lost over any of those knights yet, and was able to pick up a knight raid on his side. So villager count number heavily favoring Don Artie, and IamMagic hasn't even dropped a second TC yet.
Absolutely incredible. There, yeah, a lot of villager, and also really important, those villagers died before being able to deliver their stone. So IamMagic still not having enough stone now in order to drop that second TC. He might actually be thinking of going for a third TC here, the way the villager numbers are looking right now.
That would be quite a bit. He has a lot of wood in the bank still floating after the second TC drop, so he could be thinking about it, but that would be so much of an investment as far as food goes. He's already lacking in the military numbers, and that would make him falter even harder in that regards. I would be very, very scared for him and think that would be a little bit too greedy in this game.
Purple barrack spearman production right now coming out for Don Artie. IamMagic still sitting on on a single barracks, but now even more knights coming out and trying to get more villager picks. Is able to pick off another villager here on the fish, but the spearman numbers are just looking really, really healthy right now for Don Artie.
Yeah, and I'm wondering, obviously the TC is going to be very, very effective at picking off these spearmen if they push forward a little bit too much, as this has turned into a little bit of a greedy meta with TCs with the retargeting of town center fire automatically. But how is Don Artie going to be able to utilize that spearman mass aggressively rather than just kind of defensively like you typically would?
He's most probably just going to be able to use it on spots that aren't covered by the town centers. For example, if the gold for IamMagic right now, I'm not sure if it's in range of the TC, but if it isn't, then Don Artie, that would be a prime location for him to try and attack there. Right now we see IamMagic trying to sneak his army by, but Don Artie is able to scout it with his scout there. And that's a lot of spears. IamMagic is not going to be able to take that fight. At the same time, he's trying to raid, though, with the other knights on the opposite side. But he's going to lose at least one knight here on that front side. And that is already value gained for Don Artie.
Yeah, and not only is it one knight, the bigger thing is it's just army mass that he's losing. He might have caught up in like 1 or 2 villagers, but Don Artie has 19 military compared to 8 right now. And this is where he can continue to snowball this game. Yes, he might be taking some raids, but as he picks more and more of these military units and keeps his alive, those raids become less and less effective in the long term.
Don Artie right now, he still has 2 of his knights in that town center, just also grabbing chivalry right now in order to keep them healthy. Let's see, does any of the... Okay, we see archery rangers now coming out for IamMagic. This is what we talked about earlier, that archery rangers, the first play to go for those, is usually the one that loses. However, we're already in that spot where we're going for a triple composition, but now we see Don Artie just prepping more and more stables here behind that. I'm gonna wonder, though, if we get to a good enough amount of spears for IamMagic, he might actually be still in a beneficial spot here when it comes to army composition.
Yeah, the only thing is it takes so many archers for those to start becoming effective in a fight. There's already 15 spearmen. It takes, what, 9 archers to one-shot a spearman? We're at 4 right now. So it's going to be a lot more of an investment. IamMagic has 8 wood in the bank. It doesn't have a ton of wood per minute right now going in. So it's going to take him a bit of time to ramp up that archer number. Whereas Don, you said it, it's what the French want to do. He easily can transition right back into a mass of knights, and those knights can end up healing themselves over time. They will very, very easily take the trades any days against archers and just a smaller spearman number.
Yeah, Blacksmith also being out there for Don Artie, so he's able to get that free melee attack damage upgrade right now, and also grabbing the defense upgrades at the same time. Alright, military just parading around in the middle here. 11 spears for IamMagic, 17 for Don Artie. Knight advantage also for Don Artie. Just a couple of archers right now for IamMagic, not really enough to make a big difference here in this fight, and it looks like he has switched back completely over to spears and knights.
Yeah, and just this is where the composition, I think, heavily favors Don Artie. The archer number is not going to matter at all with only 5 archers on the opposite side.
Right now, I mean, 5 archers, they are still able to do a lot of damage to the spears. I don't think it's 9 archers that are able to one-shot a spearman, since they do get a lot of bonus damage towards light units, but it's right around that number. And we see Don Artie once again just poking over to that gold mine, trying to get a couple of villager picks here. But at the same time, IamMagic right now is going up to the castle age. Don Artie nowhere close right now.
Yeah, it's the thing is, though, you talked about it in the Abbasid mirror. It's the same thing with the French civilization too, though. It doesn't quite matter as much for them when they're an age behind, but this really is concerning for Don. The longer that IamMagic is castle age while he is feudal will be concerning.
Exactly. 7 archers now for IamMagic. He's getting closer to that number. I think with 7 archers, he's probably in a good spot right now in order to take those spearmen out. However, Pierce armor upgrade being there for Don Artie and no attack damage upgrade for IamMagic yet. It's going to be tough, but as soon as that castle age upgrade comes in, castle age timing comes in for IamMagic, I think Don Artie will go for a very aggressive move here over to the base of IamMagic.
Don Artie, he had that timing push with the castle drop. Obviously, he can't drop a keep being only in feudal age, but he might try to do that same timing push, just how you mentioned.
Right now, though, we got 10 knights for Don Artie and only 3 knights for IamMagic. This could potentially be really, really rough right now. Those archers, they're not going to be able to do a whole lot. Outpost coming out here for IamMagic. Is going to have to put villagers inside. 1 villager going down to the charge, and now Castle Age timing hits.
Castle Age timing hits, and what is Don's reaction now? Is he going to stop producing for a bit and castle up himself and go ahead and force what he has forward to try to deny any sort of these kind of actual castle upgrades from coming through beforehand?
Look at this though, IamMagic. This is the perfect response right now to what he's doing. He's getting immediately the upgrade for his spears, the cast stage upgrade for his spears, and he's getting the Arbaletria. And Arbaletria are going to be able to dish out a lot of damage here. Don Artie potentially diving a little bit into deep here as soon as those upgrades come in. I don't think he's going to be able to really keep fighting here, but at the same time, now he has enough resource to go up to Castlation himself. And I think he should do so ASAP in order to grab those upgrades. He does have a lot of gold in the bank, so he could potentially grab the Royal Bloodlines immediately. And Royal Institute a little bit forward with his extra villagers that he has out there. It's going to give, like, with that many villagers, it's going to go up really, really quickly. And with the amount of knights, if he just upgrades them with Royal Bloodlines, not even Arbaletria are going to be able to do a whole lot here.
No, not at all. And this is very concerning for IamMagic. It just shows you what a few extra villagers can do over time. You slowly snowball that into a military advantage. Yeah, he might be a little bit slower on the age up timing, but the trades that he has been taking are very, very efficient. And he has the Knight Mass versus archers and spears, which is not where I would want to be if I was on the other side.
A lot of villagers now on gold, and we immediately see the upgrades coming in. Spearman upgrade, Knight upgrade. Not enough gold quite in order to go for that Royal Bloodlines, but with that many villagers on gold, it's only going to be a matter of minutes. Actually, just seconds here. Already up to 400 gold again in order to grab that Royal Bloodlines. IamMagic is trying to poke out a little bit, has made another scout here, and now he's going to try and get a couple of villager picks here once again. One villager going down, 2 villagers going down.
No response yet from Don Artie's military, as he does not want to do this fight before his upgrades come through. Just how IamMagic, he was wanting that fight when those upgrades came through, and Don Artie's trying to delay it, but at the same time has those knights raiding around on some villagers on the opposite side, Shoreline Fish, and just kind of any raid that comes in on his side, he knows that that's military lacking in defense.
Pretty much equal amount of villagers dying on both sides here. But right now, I mean, the army, I really like the Arbaletria play here. If he's able to mass up enough Arbaletrias with the attack speed upgrade that you're able to get early on due to that Royal Institute. Oh, Knights charging in before the Royal Bloodlines upgrade into the spears. This could be a really bad fight here.
Yeah. And the spears having to run back. Not too many knights get taken down, and the spear numbers, they're just about at a 2-to-1, not quite. And Don Artie opting for the fight, opting to take this. This just could be the ending. Arbaletier are just firing down on the back line, just free and clear, able to get picks and haven't been touched at all.
More spears coming in here, and this is looking really rough. Sure, the army trades pretty much evenly, but at the same time, I think much more value here was lost for Don Artie than it was for IamMagic. But at the same time, there must have been huge raids going on, as Don Artie now has less villagers than IamMagic.
Yes, absolutely. Raids were coming in onto some of those Shoreline Fish. It was probably just 1 or 2 knights behind this, but IamMagic, he is up 5 villagers now. Don Artie, what happened behind that we failed to see? Because there was just decimation.
And now forward keep for Don... Oh no, okay. Is that Don Artie's keep? That's Don Artie's keep, right? Yeah, it's gonna be.
Don's gonna transition this into a sacred site victory. I bet he's gonna go try to secure up these middles and go in for the. Yep, there's the sacred site starting to be capped for Don Artie. Gonna go ahead and get those as well as the relics behind it.
Yeah, now we see military mass for IamMagic though at the same time looking really, really healthy. He's also gathering the resource that he needs in order to drop a keep of his own. With the archers, if he goes for Mass Arbaletria, he's going to be able to discount the cost of those. And Arbaletria, that's just the power unit. There's only one real counter against the Arbaletria, and it's going to be the Mangonel. Because Spearmen and Horsemen, they aren't really able to counter them. With the Gamberson upgrade, they have a lot of melee armor. And... okay, that's still really
reassessing the situation. IamMagic has not produced an Arbaletier in quite a while. He has been only on the Spearman, and Don, his knight numbers are nice and healthy yet again. So I'm really confused. IamMagic, he seemed to win that heavily and seemed to like have a super favorable trade and raids, but now Don Artie still seems to be in a more favorable positioning. He's grabbed up the sacred site now. He's grabbing in his first relic and securing up more of that map control with a keep in the middle of the map.
TC for IamMagic and keep at the same time. This is gonna be still like IamMagic is now also gonna scale economically, and with the amount of spears that he has, and now he's also making Arbaletria again.
Oh, that's what it is.
This
It was
not the worst position.
It was the third TC drop by IamMagic that was just allowing. He's trying to go a little bit more on the eco behind this, and it's just going to see if it pays off with the mass amount of spearmen that we're seeing. Whereas Don, he's taking the map control and he's taking the relics.
Really important at the same time, IamMagic is gathering a lot more wood than Don is right now. He's going to drop a lot of military production buildings at the moment, and now he's using his military again just to go over to those confirmed locations where villagers are at. And now we see villagers potentially going down again. They're dying relatively slowly, so I'm guessing that Don Artie has opted into textiles at this point in time. Now able to keep Don Artie from going over to the steers, but Don doesn't have a lot of wood right now in the bank. He doesn't have the wood in order to go for a farm transition here anytime soon.
No, not at all. So might be going for a boar play in the middle. Could be a decent idea as he has somewhat secured that location. There's some other food sources on the ground that might be a little bit more secure, but as we say that, more berries, more food sources continue to be raided by what? By spearmen of all things.
Late 30C is proving to be really, really beneficial here for IamMagic as he's almost 15 villagers ahead now. Knights were able to pick up a couple of spears here, so that aggression is going to end there. But right now, army-wise, okay, I think IamMagic lost all of his ability, but he's still, like, looking at the amount of spears, he's not in a bad position at all right now. But at the same time, Don Artie right now is also opting into a little bit of an arbitrary transition here. Gonna be interesting to see where this goes to, though.
Yeah, it's just all spears for IamMagic, so I'm wondering. Don Artie obviously does not want to build archers, but that is technically the thing to do. And what did I say? He wants to go ahead and at least start a win condition. This will be 10 minutes starting to count down once Don secures up this next sacred site. Tons of these villagers have just been idled around by these spearmen, but they are drawing these spearmen into not only the keep, but also some of the knights on the opposite side. So might get a decent amount of villager picks.
Yeah, Don also now spotted the 30C here for IamMagic, and he's trying to get a couple of villager kills here now. Actually, no, he's backing off. Okay. Looking to just stabilize around those sacred sites. And, oh, the boar was right next to the sacred site. So now Don Artie is also able to just get a little bit more food income right now because he is currently really struggling for food.
Yep. First trebuchet has already come out for IamMagic. IamMagic also gets a monk out for himself to try to secure up a relic or two himself because there are still those easily securable on his side. Spearman raids will be a little bit harder to circle around now that there are two keeps dead center in the middle on top of the sacred sites. So maybe not as many spearman raids other than that one big battalion that has circled around that looks to be going for the back wood line.
Yeah, IamMagic is still going for his only spearman composition here right now. I don't think he spotted that Don Artie has opted into Arbitraire. And right now, the numbers for Don Artie are looking pretty good. He's going up to 19 Arbitraire, so with that amount, he's definitely going to be able to one-shot these spearmen. Spearmen, now a little battalion over here, going over to the base of Don Artie. I don't think he has a lot going, though, in his main base. I think there might be a couple of villagers on wood. But other than that, I don't think there's really a lot up to grabs here in Don Artie's base, as Don Artie is now also raiding on that 30C again.
Yeah, and seeing only 3 spearmen sitting at on the berries, Don Artie's probably pretty happy as he's just like, all right, I'll pick up on a few spearmen and run on away. But he leaves a few too many knights behind and actually is a very, very preferential trade for IamMagic.
Arbitrary now coming out, and this is not gonna be a position of power here for IamMagic, and he's gonna have to go into some other sort of unit here because just spearmen at this point with that many arbitrary on the map, almost 30 right
Watch
now.
Out. Oh no, knights! Spearmen are just running through to try to get on top of the trebuchets. I thought that Don was gonna go for a little bait and switch, bring in the spearmen a little bit and let his knights swing around for a charge on the trebuchet, but not quite how it worked out. Spearmen have constantly been getting sniped down, whereas the spearmen for IamMagic haven't really been able to find too much other than a few knight picks.
Keep being placed really far forward, and there are 3 trebuchets out right now for IamMagic. I don't think this keep is going to go up, but knights are trying to circle past those spears. They're going to go straight for the trebuchets here.
Yep. And if they are able to get a decent charge on top of the trebuchets, get a couple picks on the trebuchets, this could be what gets Don back in the game or gives him the time to have his win condition start to pay off. 2 trebuchets go down, 1 more still alive. Keep barely stays up. Next trebuchet shot, is it going to come in? It's not quite there. It's not quite in time.
lot of stone being invested right now, though, into repairing that. And there are a lot of outposts here right now for Don Artie. So the
Mangonel!
Oh no!
Oh,
that's a lot of damage.
That is so much damage. Don has to fall back. Next Mangonel fire, it's heat seeking. Oh, it does not hit, does not land, but Don doesn't really have anything to take down those outposts that have been quite pesky and annoying, non-stop firing down on his military, and some more spearmen have finally started to find their spot in that raiding party and find a little success.
Yeah, it looks like Don Artie did lose quite a lot of villagers here at the same time, as he's now back down to 80 villagers. I think he was at like 90 for some time. But, I mean, right now, he also lost a lot of snipes. Pretty much all of his snipe numbers did go down. And with spears and mangoes, I think that's a really, really good composition here just to go for a slow push. And you do need a slow push if you want to crawl back onto these sacred sites. Right now, everything that Don Artie is making, there is an answer for IamMagic. He has the mangonels against the Abbasid, and then the knights, it's just mass spears here for him right now.
Yeah. 3 trebuchets out. They're just going to make quick work of those keeps that have gone up. There's still 6 minutes on the sacred site, and Don Artie invested so much into that. He invested so much into trying to secure those, as well as just not having enough to secure his backside. There were so many villagers that went down. IamMagic went a little greedy and invested in that later third TC, and it definitely has paid off at this point in time in the game.
Right now, the income is looking really good for IamMagic. If this Sacred Site victory doesn't work out here for Don Artie, I think we're going to be finding ourselves in a quick 3-0 set here.
Yeah, quite surprising, as there have been quite a few different times, not only in this game but other games, that it felt like Don Artie had the potential, had the leg up on his opponent, and just hasn't quite been able to follow this through, as IamMagic has been making the correct mechanical counters, the correct decisions on the opposite side.
Now we're up to 45 crossbows here. Springled coming out for Don Artie, a single Springled, another is on the way, so that should work against the Mangonels. And now, I mean, right now with the Springleds there, I think Don Artie should be able to hold that. If he notices in time, a timer is now being put on the stop here as he's not reacting, and now the Abbasid are going to charge forward.
Pushes the spearman back just a little bit. Don Artie's back on it, ticking back down. Mangonel gets a shot, but doesn't look to be successful at all. Springled will want to try to snipe down that Mangonel, but not only the Springled, the Knights are going to try to circle around on the opposite side too. Spearmen haven't been able to find any luck yet. They're running forward, trying to find their spot. Mangonel push back, and this looks to be a fight that's going in the favor of Don Artie right now. Knights have closed in on the Mangonel.
Yeah, the Spearmen, they're not doing any damage right now to those Abbasid, at least not enough damage, but right now we also see Horseman being pushed out for IamMagic, and he's still at a really, really big pop lead here right now, 119 population to 189, so that it's just Horseman mass, it's just an endless spam here of units coming out for IamMagic. And the Visa being deployed doesn't make a lot of sense here, as there's nothing range doing damage to those Abbasid, and the trebuchets at the same time, they're taking on the keep on the other side of the map as well.
Yeah, really, really good trade for Don Artie, but it doesn't matter because he is so far behind in the eco. He's so far behind in the military count already. And IamMagic, just how you said, constantly pumping out units, making the correct transition onto the Horseman, and Don Artie throws in the towel. IamMagic able to secure up that 3-0 victory and move on to the next round.
What a game here. I think this was just an absolutely action-packed game here, and I'm surprised. I thought there were going to be much more Abbasid coming out for IamMagic, but it looked like he just opted into full-on Spearman, and then at the end the Horseman mass just was able to completely overrun Don Artie, giving him, like, just taking that win condition with the Sacred Sites away from him. The trebuchets also just, they came in at the perfect moment, being able to pretty much immediately deny that second keep that came out on that Sacred Site for Don Artie. It just, and the 30C and the raids, it was really, really well played by IamMagic here. Gotta hand it to him.
Yeah, absolutely crazy, crazy back and forth game. Just how I said during it, it felt like there were a lot of times where Don Artie was heavily favored, but IamMagic just able to hold, able to show, you know, a lot.